So this is scenario number 8, Breakout dance. Again, with the Soviets on this side and the Germans on this side of the map. This one's a little odd in that it's a night action, so according to the special rules, all fire attack totals are reduced by the range. So it's going to be kind of hard to shoot, so you got to get up close. The objective is exit points are doubled, and the Germans are allowed to exit off. The Soviets are not. If they do, they're eliminated. Sudden death is at 5. It's a bit quick. Germans' surrender is only at 4. Soviets are much higher, but I mean, that's all the Germans you have. So the plan on this one is, since the Soviet setup kind of spread out, is trying to get through this area, because the bigger guns, the medium, are over here, and hopefully they can just knock these 4 out and get off the board before the Soviet player can get over. The Soviet players only can do 1 order per turn. The German player, he can do 3, but he can only discard 1. So they reduce his discard capability. So this is kind of a interesting one. Both postures, recon, objectives don't have any points for the actual objective hexes, because I'm not even defending all of these. So that's kind of interesting. So the Soviet player pretty much has got to kill the Germans before they get off the map, because the objectives are a bit meaningless, I gather. Because the objective chits are not part of that. And unless there's a general in the rules, I could double check that to just see if the objectives are generally a point. Okay, let's see. Off and see what happens. So after quite a few hands, because both sides are not getting move cards, the Soviets are, and since all the Germans are over there, they're going to move these forces up to block, and then these will stay here to force the Germans to keep continuing that way. They're kind of covering that in, but after these guys move up, these will move in too. The problem with the Germans is they have not been able to move through loads of hands. They were able to break that unit out, and then 2 cards of advance, they were able to advance here. That unit is kind of stuck there at the moment, trying to shoot the guys as they're passing by. So it's kind of, with the luck of the draw, things are kind of slowed down. If the Germans can't move and the Soviet player can move these groups of units, because they're covered by the officers, which is good, because this officer stayed here. He's got the medium machine gun slowing him down, but one of the moves was to move him up near the officer, so the next move card they can all move as a group out more quickly than doing it singularly. And that's the advantage of the Germans here, is this officer is 2 hexes away, so he can move everybody quite well together. But since he's not getting move cards and they can't discard down, the German hand is kind of full of things that he can't use at the moment, which is highly annoying. So continue on. So after a few hands, the Germans were able to clear this, kind of come across the open area here. The Soviets fired across, but broke their medium machine gun. Even these guys were able to shoot. Part of the problem for both players is the fact that they haven't been able to draw many movement cards, so it's been kind of slow. The Soviets were able to move basically all these units over, and interestingly, we had reinforcements for the Germans. They grabbed the officer and realized that with his high movement, he can sneak across and get over quickly enough if he has time. The Soviets have pulled all their units towards this group here, so if they're willing to spend cards to move these guys back to try to get this lone guy here, or the Germans using cards that, instead of moving these guys over, you can have that one officer move across the board. Kind of goofy, a little play with the extra event there. Yeah, so kind of odd play because both sides, without any movement cards, it's really hurting the German player. Had to use advance cards, kind of helped to move their units up and out. And he took the risk because it's night, moving across the open fields before getting shot out. But the Soviet player just waited until they entered this final hex and just shot him up. But the only relevant thing was the officer getting suppressed. So a lot of activity, not much action through the firing, which is understandable. Most of the unit losses that the Germans were able to do through this area was doing melee attacks. And we'll see how this finishes out with the Germans getting pretty close. They can start exiting off the map board after they push those guys out. But hopefully the Soviet player can get some more reinforcements up here. So that's game. The Germans are able to get everything off the map, but they lost the best leader, and that was annoying, but they were able to take out 4 units, so that's 8 VPs plus the 2, so that's 10, plus the 5 there, but Germans exited off 16, so they win. Oh, and I forgot the objectives. The Soviet player was able to pull objective 1, so number 4. Get a victory point for that. There. But that's still not for the win for them. Well, that's this little night breakout scenario. Scenario 8. And kind of unique with the special rules of night trying to move off the board. So a little bit more dynamic than just a straight up shootout that you usually have. On